everybody. This is Steve Blair with Lyceum Insurance Services, and today I'm excited to be bringing you one of my good friends, Tom McKernan, from HiTouch Business Solutions. He is somebody that I respect very much. He's got a great reputation in his industry. And so with that, Tom, tell us a little bit about who you are and a little bit about HiTouch.
Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about us. HiTouch Business Services is a national office supply company. What does that mean? Well, it's just not your pens and pencils. We cover everything from your pens and pencils to the chair you're sitting in, to the desk you're writing it on, to the cleaning products you use to clean your offices, to the coffee break room supplies, furniture, print, promo, anything that you need for your office, we can do it, including IT hardware.
So how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this for 40 years, so I kind of
go.
like the industry. So it's been a while since I've been at. What does that mean to your customers or to a customer? What that means is that I had the experience behind me to get things done quickly, efficiency, and follow through with any kind of oddball request. I always tell my people, think of me as your Google. A perfect example is I have a customer that called me out of the blue, called me asking for exercise equipment.
Exercise equipment.
Yeah, believe it or not, exercise equipment.
Okay.
Can you get it? I said, let me try. And I got back to him with a quote, and the stuff was installed September 21st, and he loves it. So that's what I'm saying. Don't waste your time looking for something that you may not think I can do. I will let me tell you that.
Well, that's a good point. And one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here for the Changing Workplace series is the fact that you've had so much industry experience, and the fact, and I think back to when, my pre-days when I worked in as a manufacturing rep and seeing kind of ebbs and flows and how different kind of things can affect your process and the way that your customers interact and work with you. And given that we're smack dab in the middle of the pandemic, first of all, can you explain, especially from that kind of office supply standpoint, and the needs of businesses obviously have changed because, not only are, some people are still working in an office space, but many have gone to hybrid work or even 100% remote. And that can create some challenges for businesses, as I can imagine. Even something as simple as a pen. I was pretending I had a pen in my hand. And having employees go out potentially and buy their own equipment. Are they buying the right equipment? Are they getting it at the best price? Those kind of factors, and then submitting receipts back. I know that in our conversations that you all have got a pretty interesting way, not only that you can do invoicing for those kinds of things, but also very interesting ways that you all have adapted to be able to help your clients during kind of this COVID pandemic area. Given your experience that you've been in the industry a long time, and you've seen these kind of things come and go, but we are kind of in a longer term scenario here than I even experienced when I was, thinking back 25, 30 years ago when I worked as a manufacturer's rep, and seeing, things get goofed up because of a strike on the, on the docks in California. And how that can affect the supply chain and the way people need to be able to get the materials that they need. Could you give us a little bit of an idea as how COVID has affected the industry, your industry in particular, and how you all have been able to adapt, and any, for my clients, any ideas on things that they should be thinking about kind of moving forward, within this process?
Sure. Yeah, COVID has been a weird type of situation to put us in. Me personally, I like going out and seeing my customers. I've been doing this forever. I had a routine. Well, bam, I am now also stuck in my basement working out of my home office.
Yeah.
But what it has done is we have developed a program called Work From Anywhere. And what that it does, that enables the customers to set up specific lists that their end users can buy. And they can also have approval processes. So let's say you come up with 20 or 30 items that they're allowed to buy: pens, pencils, toner, copy paper, items like that. then they can order that. It gets charged to a specific area. They may set up what they call a GL code or a budget center called home office, and that person can get stuff and it shows up next day at their house, or 1 or 2 days at their house. This is convenient for two reasons. One, it lets the business track how much they are spending on COVID items.
That's very important.
And then also how they don't have to worry about expense reports. And everybody hates expense reports, especially accounting. They have to justify it. This way it's already justified, pre-done. So you can give them access to that, or you just give them a pre-approval. You place the order, it goes to somebody approved, that person approves it, it shows up. We've also had the capability of setting up home offices. I set up several home offices, from small desk and a chair to small desk, chair, computers, networking information. It's very volatile right now in the industry. If you're looking to buy a laptop, desktop, monitor, anything, supply chains are crazy. So we are proactive in letting our customers know, hey, if you're looking at this item, this is the time to buy it because we have it in stock. If you wait, it may not be. And people are finally realizing we're telling them the truth. A lot of people will say, hey, you can get that, but it may be 2-3 days. Where we look at the same exact item, it's really 2 or 3 weeks out. So therefore, we're very honest about that.
Well, one of the things that we've encountered within our own industry is potential liabilities for employers, especially around areas like work comp, because when your employees are working from home, if you haven't really set up a designated workspace, in essence, the whole house can be the office. And so I want to focus in a little bit more on the area that you're talking about in terms of being able to help companies set up these home office areas. I look at it as an area, as a way for a company to say, okay, we're setting up a policy. This is the type of equipment that will be allowed in a home office. This is how it's going to be set up. This is the type of material that you're going to keep in your office. And your office space at home is where you're designated to do work for the company, because we don't want our clients to have that extra liability that somebody steps out, goes into their kitchen and cuts their finger when they're cutting a bagel in the morning during office hours. And all of a sudden, that's an extension of your workplace. If you don't have policies and procedures in place in order to have, like, this is your designated work area, and have the employees sign off on it, and you as an employer approve that workspace, I think what you all do in terms of helping customers say, all right, these are the items that you need to be thinking about if somebody is going to be working from home. You should have this type of designated equipment, because if somebody's bringing in their own things into that space, you could end up having a liability on your hands that you didn't even know that you have. So can you just kind of extrapolate a little bit how you've been able to do that for your customers? Because my concern is for my clients, and one of the big reasons that I wanted to talk to you was that, a lot of my clients, especially with people working from home, have liabilities that they don't even realize that they have. So let's talk about the value of, if we could, talk about the value of creating kind of a designated workspace and having, in essence, authorized equipment there.
Right. Thank you. That's a good question. The response is usually a desk is no more than 24 by 48 at the largest. That's all most people need. And sure. The chair is, you could work with HR within that organization to come up with a chair that specifically works for an ergonomic process, the desk height. Some people require a keyboard, some people don't. You also need the laptop most people went with. That's a key item, because you don't want an employee taking their own computer and logging into your system without at least a VPN or along those lines. You are asking for a nightmare. That way, if you give the employee a laptop, they know it's strictly work related. You can track that, because even though they're on their own private Wi-Fi, you're still required to log into a VPN to get things done.
Yeah.
And we can set that up. Going forward with customers, we have the ability to set up a VPN, set up the laptops, pre-configure them. So, and some people think, well, I don't need that. Well, your company needs it. And therefore,
Right.
well, if I just need a camera and a, mic or something, or microphone, something like that, that's fine, because you may already have the company laptop. So that's the kind of thing we try and show customers, that, hey, there's more to this just working from home than just, hey, work from your desk if you have one. If you don't, well, work from your kitchen table. That's not going to work. So
Yeah.
that's where we try and help people out along those lines.
Well, and and that's one of the reasons that I decided to do this series for my clients, was that there are people that are experts and thought leaders in their fields. And I don't, you all aren't just pens and pencils.
No, we're not.
There's so much that goes into that, especially when you're talking about creating safe and secure workplaces and having the knowledge and experience, especially when you're talking about how high should desks be, what type of chairs provide better, ergonomics versus others. And we were talking the other day, and you were mentioning how you had a client, you knew they needed laptops, and there's been kind of an issue, as we all know, with supply chain trying to get certain types of items. And you said something to me, I don't know if you remember this conversation, that you all did preactively, knowing that somebody might have a need for something that you saw pop up. Can you talk about that, if you remember?
Sure. I have a couple. I do remember the conversation.
All right, good.
I have a couple of clients that we know their specifications, and we know they're difficult to get. They're growing, and we know that they're going to need this. So when items that we proactively know people are looking for, our specialists, not me, but we have a specialist behind the scenes that keep an eye on the products that we know are coming in. Laptops is especially one. So they scan every morning. They look for items that are now in stock, look for the people that we know buy them or have some kind of close configuration to that, reach out to them and say, hey, we have this in stock. I can put a hold on it for 48 hours. Do you need them? They get back to us. Let me check. I'm looking for 20 of them. They bought 20. Another customer bought another 25. So by doing that, one, we're saving them the time and energy to constantly look every day. Well, I need this. I need this. How long is it going to take me to find it? Let us look for it. Let us put you on our sheet to look for items. So that's how we proactively look for these type of products that are hard to find.
Yeah, and when it's those kind of things that I hear about when I'm talking to my peers, that are supporting businesses like we do. And those kind of little stories resonate with me a little bit, because we like to think we take that proactive approach ourselves. And anytime I hear somebody that has business practice very similar to ours, I always try to endear myself to them and try to, get them to come out. And selfishly, I'm having you help me do this series because I think it's important to, have these conversations, because it's not just going to Office Depot or going on Amazon and I know we need some pens and let's order some pens. HiTouch, because of the volume that you all do and your experience in the industry and your ability to get resources and from much larger outlets, kind of in that supply chain scenario, you're in a really good situation. And can you talk about that a little bit, like how HiTouch works and kind of how you are within the industry?
Sure. HiTouch is one of the largest independent national companies. When I say independent, we had the backing of a VC company, venture capitalist. So we had the wherewithal to do that. Our merchandising people go out and they look for items. Perfect example is COVID. When it first hit, everybody with the PP items, the masks, the sanitizer, the hand wipes. Well, they went out and sourced substitutes that qualified the same or better product that you were looking for. A lot of people swear by, Perel, Lysol. Well, there are other items out there that are equivalent, and they've been able to do that and keep the supply chain open. Hey, we're not, in terms of everything being in stock all the time, because COVID can come in and wipe out more stuff. But we had the backup and the supplies, so we know where to go to find it, replenish the supplies quickly.
And I think that's what's important when you're to be, especially during a time like this, and especially as companies are thinking about, all right, now we're going to start coming back to the office or developing, All right, it looks like we're going to be at home for a long time. We better start developing some policies and procedures around that. You touched on something that was really important, that you work with somebody that can get you the equipment that you need, and be proactive to know that you're looking for certain types of equipment. Because I think back in COVID, this was more towards the beginning. One of my administrative people, her computer died. What a great time to have a laptop die during all of this. And it took quite a bit of legwork on my side to be able to go out and find a qualified machine that would be able to be encrypted and everything like that, and run all of our internal software. And I didn't have a partner at that time like I do now with you to be able to do that kind of stuff. So I think it's important that people know that there are resources out there and that people are available to not only, we're all in the business of what we do, and you're in the business of selling items, but you take a much different consultative approach to that, which I like, as opposed to them saying, anybody can give you a catalog and say, here, pick what you want. It's something completely different to say, these are my needs. These are how, this is how our workplace has changed, hence the name of our series here, the Changing Workplace, and be able to have partners that can adapt with you as you're trying to adapt here as well. So Tom, any last minute words of advice you could give our clients, what's happening in the industry?
I want to thank you again for this time. The major thing people have to take a look at is how they're coming back to work, if they're coming back to work, when they're coming back to work. COVID has many changing aspects to how people work. Some people are going to come back and they're going to say, I need 6 feet, I need masks, I need closed offices, I need certain, PPE items. We're here to help you do that. We can design a program for when you come back to work. We can be ready and you can be ready. If you decide to stay from home, we can work with you in that process. Our process is to be a partner for the long-term relationship. I'm not a hit and run person. I'm here. I've been 40 years and I've got customers that I've had for 40 years. I have customers that have seen my kids grow up. Yes. So I'm very much relationship oriented, customer oriented, and I like working with people.
And that's why you're here talking to me. Well, Tom, thank you very much for your words of wisdom. I learned something today that I didn't know before, even from our previous conversations. So thank you for your time.
I appreciate it.
My clients, how can they best get in touch with you? We're going to give your contact info, but do you have a preferred method?
The easiest way to contact you is my cell phone. It's 443-562-3086, or you can shoot me an email at HiTouchBusinessServices.com. Yes, it's a mouthful, but HiTouch is spelled HITOUCH. Awesome. Again, I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Tom. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Be well. Bye.